Gross examination of spleen. So basically when I tell you gross of spleen, what do you understand? Like what kind of change in the spleen will you expect? Very simple, splenomegaly mostly. Okay, whatever happens, most of the times there will be enlargement of the spleen, right? Splenomegaly. So today mostly we are going to discuss about splenomegaly and the causes of splenomegaly and what is the grading of splenomegaly, okay, and then you are going to see the gross specimen. Okay, all this you already know. Anatomy of spleen you would have studied in anatomy. Largest reticular endothelial organ in the body. Size of course varies. This is the average size, mostly 11 to 12 centimeters, okay. And other than that, weight again it varies. In some books it's 150 to 200. Come in. It's 150 to 200. Somewhere it's also written 150 to 250. Okay, 150 to 250 grams, right? There's a term called massive splenomegaly. I'll just tell you here itself. So that we call a splenomegaly as massive splenomegaly when the weight is more than 1000 grams. Okay. So what are the main functions? Filtration you already know. Host defense. Why? Because what is the spleen made of? Red pulp and white pulp, right? So white pulp has what? What? Immune cells or not? Yeah, so white pulp has what? Lymphocytes, right? Yeah, it is formed of lymphoid follicles, it has lymphocytes, so definitely host defense, okay? Then extramedullary hematopoiesis also can happen. Okay, now what are the anomalies that can happen in a spleen? No need to go into details, just remember complete absence is very rare, right? You know there are certain congenital anomalies like situs inversus. You know what is situs inversus? Some organs are there on the right side, some others are there on the left side of the body normally. In some individuals, they'll swap. That is situs inversus, certain cardiac malformations, okay. Other than that, what other anomalies? Hypoplasia, okay, and accessory spleens. This is not very uncommon. Many times when a specimen of spleen comes, you can find small attached accessory spleens to the same specimen. Okay, now coming to splenomegaly. We all know it means enlargement of spleen, okay. Now normal spleen is not palpable usually. Sometimes in very low percentage of people, normal spleen is also just palpable. Mildly it could be palpable without any disease, okay. The spleen has to enlarge almost 2 times to be detectable. Okay, this is just a grading of splenomegaly, okay. All this is medicine, you don't need. Okay, now there are 2 classifications, okay. One says if there is mild to basically moderate splenomegaly, the size of the spleen, the whole spleen is going to be 11 to 20 centimeter, and more than 20 centimeter is known as severe splenomegaly, okay. Now there's something else, this particular classification where mild is less than 5, moderate is 5 to 8 and severe is more than 8. This is what? This is basically this palpable, the size of the palpable spleen below the costal margin, okay. So you remember this, the second classification, okay, the second grading. Again, there is something known as Hackett's grading. If they ask you, at least you should be able to tell the name. Okay, so what is the pathology of splenomegaly? Why does splenomegaly happen? Okay, so basically either the spleen has to be overworked or something has to accumulate within the spleen, okay. So overwork meaning increased function. When there are some abnormal RBCs, non-functional RBCs or anything like that is forming, that requires to be sequestrated, destroyed inside the spleen, then spleen is working over time. So therefore, splenomegaly will happen. Okay, that is one. The other thing is, what is getting accumulated in the spleen? Abnormal blood flow. Why abnormal blood flow? Have you guys heard of cirrhosis of liver? Portal hypertension? So the blood flow within the spleen, because of that, is hampered. There is stasis, right? Therefore, so what is, other than white pulp, what else was spleen made of? Right. What does that have? Yeah, many vascular channels, right? So RBCs. So stasis, if it happens, all the blood, RBCs, everything will get stored there. So there will be expansion of the red pulp, right? So that is what is happening. One. And the other is infiltration. When will infiltration happen? What does infiltration sound like? Sounds like something is coming and getting deposited in the spleen, right? So why can something like this happen? So have you heard of lymphomas, right? So it can be, since I said there are lymphoid follicles inside the spleen, isn't it? So it can be a primary lymphoma of the spleen itself, okay, or it can be other lymphoid disorders of some other lymph node, CML, right, of bone marrow, wherever all those cells come and they get accumulated in the spleen. That can happen. CML is a cause of splenomegaly, right? Okay. Other than that, what else can come and get accumulated in this? Have you heard of metabolic disorders? Like what? Gaucher's, storage disorders, right? Gaucher's, Niemann-Pick. There also, Gaucher cells will come and they can get accumulated in the spleen. Sorry. So now coming to increased function, removal of defective RBCs. What are the causes of defective RBCs? Yeah, so all the hemoglobinopathies, right? Then any kind of thalassemia, right? So what is happening is abnormal cells are being formed which are non-functional, right? So they are getting destroyed in the spleen. Okay. Then immune hyperplasia. What all can cause increase in these immune cells? All these infective conditions, hepatitis, mononucleosis, brucellosis, leptospirosis, most of the infections that you can think of will cause increase in the immune cells, right? Malaria, very important, leishmaniasis. Okay. Then what else is there? Continuing with immune hyperplasia, rheumatoid arthritis, this SLE, what are these? These are, the last slide we spoke about what? Infective disorders. These are all autoimmune disorders, immune hyperplasia. The body's own immunity is acting up against itself, right? So this rheumatoid arthritis, systemic lupus erythematosus, autoimmune hemolytic anemias, okay, all this. Okay. Now extramedullary hematopoiesis, marrow infiltration, myelofibrosis, okay, marrow damage by radiation, toxins, abnormal blood flow. I already told you what will happen in abnormal blood flow, blood stasis. Why? Because either cirrhosis of liver, portal hypertension, blockade in the portal vein or its branches, Budd-Chiari syndrome, all this will cause what? Blockade in the flow, right? Therefore, stasis of blood in the spleen. Okay, we already spoke of these diseases, Gaucher's, Niemann-Pick, okay, Hurler. These will be taught to you separately, but just know the causes, okay. These can come as causes of splenomegaly. Again, benign and malignant infiltration, same thing. All the leukemias that you can think of, all the lymphomas that you can think of, okay, any kind of metastatic tumors, very rare. Metastasis to spleen, not very common, but it can happen, right? Okay. So these are the causes of mild, moderate and severe splenomegaly. Many times they overlap. But if the examiner asks you, you are going to give some examples. At least remember 3-4, okay? What are the causes of mild splenomegaly? I'm going to ask you people later. You better see all this. malaria, typhoid, okay, TB, viral hepatitis, HIV, thalassemia, minor, okay, moderate splenomegaly, and severe splenomegaly, okay, CML, Kala-Azar. So management, this is the basic that I've given you. How are you going to find out investigation basically? How are you going to find out splenomegaly? Of course, by examining, physical examination of the patient and radiology, right? Radiology meaning ultrasound, CT scan, okay? Other than that, what else are you going to do? You're going to do the routine tests like what? CBC, and you will of course ask history. Is there any history of fever, or is there any history of weight loss? Okay, is there any history of cough? All these things will lead you to certain either infective cause or joint pains. They'll lead you to some kind of systemic autoimmune disorders. Okay, so that is going to be very symptom specific. The rest of the investigations. Okay, if there is any infection that is causing splenomegaly, what will you do? You're going to do tests for malaria. You're going to do tests for typhoid, right? And if there is any autoimmune disease that is causing all this splenomegaly and all, what are you going to do? You are going to ask for the specific antibody screening, okay? And suppose it's some leukemia or lymphoma, you can find that out in CBC. You can find that out in other blood investigations. You can find that out in bone marrow examination, okay? And you will do obviously, then you are going to do subtyping and do molecular tests. You're going to do whatever the rest of the tests, okay? All this is not very important. So what do you do if there is a massive splenomegaly most of the times? Many times you are going to do splenectomy, okay? Tell me one, indication where you are going to do splenectomy. Very often we do, like we clean out what? If there is any kind of RTA, ruptured spleen, okay, and there is, there is grading of splenic injuries, no? So according to that grading, if splenectomy is required, okay, if surgery is required, you're going to do that. Okay. So what is this? This is just a gross picture that I'm showing you. What is this? This is a splenic infarct. Okay. So we probably will not show you this particular specimen, but examiners might ask you, what are the gross findings? What is your roll number? Okay. So how are you going to describe the infarct? Splenic infarct. Infarcts are wedge shaped with a base on the organ capsule. Okay. Splenic abscess. This is of course rare. Okay. And can you see all the pus draining out here? Okay. This is TB of spleen. Can you see this nodular appearance here? Outside and both inside. Okay, now what is this? This is what we were talking about, histology of spleen. So first of all, there is a, what is this? Capsule. Okay, spleen is covered by a capsule. And what are these things coming down? Trabeculae. They come down from the capsule. Okay. So what are these things? Yeah, white pulp. These are what? Lymphoid follicles. Okay. There is a central artery surrounding which there will be B cells, and surrounding that there will be T cells. Okay. And in between the white pulp, what is there? Red pulp is there. Red pulp is there. There will be arteries. There will be venules. There will be RBCs in there, and something else. What happens when I tell you that there is portal hypertension, and then there is a lot of stasis of blood? What do you understand? What changes will be there histologically? I already told you. There will be expansion of red pulp. okay, and white pulp will comparatively reduce, okay. And there is something else that comes. What is it? Gamma antibodies. You're going to read what that is, because that is very important. You're going to read what that is and you'll tell me in the next class.